A couple of months ago, Eric Arnold, who's kind of helping put this entire event together, he is acquaintances with a couple of guys that are at our label. And so they had asked if we wanted to open the show for NRA Country with Brett Eldridge and Wildwood and Jana Kramer. And we were all about it. We'd never been to Kentucky before, so yeah, we're in.
We signed with Big Machine Label Group in January, and we're just really getting our feet wet. We have our first single out. We recorded it in February. February, came out in March. It's released nationwide, and so they're playing it on the radio, which is a thrill. I was at the post office in McKinney, Texas. I was actually dropping off some mail, and then I was going to go through the bank line to make sure I wasn't overdrawn. And then literally 96.3 KSCS in Dallas, who I've listened to that station my entire life, I heard the intro of our song. And I just pulled into a parking spot and listened to it. And it was, that's kind of what you work towards in country music, is getting a song on the radio and being played nationwide and getting to grow your audience, and hopefully they latch onto it.
My name's Lauren Hall, and I play fiddle for Breaking Southwest, and I sing harmonies, and I was actually classically trained. It's kind of like a renaissance for me, like revisiting country music. I grew up with it, but it wasn't something that I necessarily like tapped into in college, so to say. Like I studied classical music and like how music was built, which actually has come in handy for us songwriting. But so later on, after I graduated, we kind of met up and started this whole journey, and it really kind of brought me back to my roots, like in country music, which has been.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell me about that story of hearing the song. You had a story.
Oh, right. So the first time, well, I kept missing it. Like they would text me and they'd be like, we're on right now, like turn it on. And I would turn it on and it would be gone. It would be done. It's like one of those hit or miss sort of situations. And I kept missing. And finally, I teach in Fort Worth and in Dallas classical violin lessons. And I just finished teaching, and I was in my car, and it came on, I think it was Nash Nights Live. They played it, and I finally caught it, and I started to like tear up just a little bit, not too much, but yeah. It was a cool experience. It was really like exciting, but also overwhelming, because it's like something that you've dreamed about, or like something you've thought could happen for a long time and maybe necessarily kind of put out of your mind, and then there it was right there. So it was very overwhelming, that first like feeling of just like hearing it.
Well, the song's called Ghost Town. It was I'm going to go blank here. Josh Thompson and Jonathan Singleton are the writers. It was actually given to us by the label, and they thought it was a good fit for us. They sent it over. We were searching for songs. We had songs that we had written that we thought about releasing. We had songs that we had gathered from publishers that we had thought about, that we were kind of putting together a good group that we really liked, and we heard this one, and we were all in agreement that we felt it was a good introduction to country music fans for us. And the reason we feel strongly about it is it's very down the middle. It's not a ballad. It's an up-tempo rock song. It's fun. We feel like it's got a hooky melody, and it's got something that people can sing along with. And so hopefully it'll be a good introduction, and from there we'll get to do more writing and recording of our own material. We'll get to search out and seek out songs from other writers that we're fans of, and hopefully, use every resource at our disposal to just get the best songs we can. Tim McGraw, Taylor Swift, Florida Georgia Line, yeah. It's really, and it's certainly not to downplay any label in town that's doing well, because there's lots of them that are doing really well, and we're fans of Sony. I mean, they're right. I mean, but for me personally, saying that I'm a label mate with Tim McGraw is a huge deal, and that I've gone. I mean, every time he comes through Dallas, I'm there. He's kind of my. That's what I aspire to from an entertainer standpoint, from a just recording great song standpoint, from a lot of things. But yeah, we walk into the big machine offices in Nashville, and they've got a wall of portraits of all their artists, and it's Taylor Swift and Tim McGraw and Rascal Flatts and Florida Georgia Line and Thomas Rhett, and I mean you just look at, you're like maybe our picture will be up there one day, you know. So yeah, it's, if you could pick anybody in town that you would want to be affiliated with, they're at the top of the list. I mean, yeah, it's totally been.
We're not in good company. We're like in great company.
Right. You want to say something about it?
Oh.
Repeat that.
No, yeah. I mean, to further what Ken just said, but it's like we're not in good company, we're in great company. So it's almost pushing us, which we're always looking for, like the next thing to push us to do better and get better. And now, I mean, we are in great company. Like they are literally the best in the business, and we are part of that, hopefully.
And just to add to that, and not as like a shameless plug, but I mean, Scott Borchetta is the guy in not just country music, but in music right now. And to know that we've sat down and talked to him, yeah, I mean, it couldn't have fallen into place any better than the situation that we're in right now. We just want to do our best to take advantage of it and maintain it as long as we can.
How did we sign with the company? Well, we were part of a nationwide contest called Nash Next. It's kind of it was a Cumulus sponsored event that we heard on the radio, entered in. There was a bunch of challenges and songwriting and video making, and write a jingle for the competition, and it was fan voted. There was a couple thousand bands that were involved in it. And over the course of 6 months, it ended in December. We were part of the top 10, so we went to Nashville, and all the top 10 performed at the Wild Horse Saloon, which was a pretty cool experience. We got to play with like the top musicians in town were backing us. And we ended up winning the whole thing, and then in January, got all the contract stuff squared away and signed along.
Well, we did a music video for a song we wrote called "Breathe." That's been 3 years ago or so.
September of 2020.
We were fortunate enough to have somebody very generously, for free, fly us to Cabo to record a video on the beach. Yeah, so it wasn't. Right. It was somebody that we had played in a private event for, and we just kind of became buddies with, and he was a fan of ours, and he said this song needs a video, and we said, well, yeah, it needs a video in Cabo, and he was like, oh, okay, well, I can have a house there. And so that's how we made that happen, and it was completely on the fly. We shot it. It was actually in the middle of a storm. We had to. Yeah, we had to. It was basically a tropical storm was blowing through, and we had to kind of run out on the beach, play the song a few times as fast as we could, and then get the drums and the guitars and all that stuff out of the rain. And that's kind of how it happened. It was interesting.
Okay, so my history with music, it started very early on, like from the very beginning. So I was like, I don't even know how old. It was before I could even really speak, but I would set my parents up and like set up a little stage and start singing for them. So eventually they were like, okay, we should probably do something with this. Like, she needs to be in music lessons or of something, some sort. So I started piano when I was 6 years old, and then violin kind of stemmed from that because my piano teacher taught violin, and I kind of took off with that and continued singing, and that's really kind of fueled my whole like educational journey. I ended up majoring in music and doing the whole collegiate thing, and then after I graduated with a degree, the plan was to go be a professor, continue, but I fell in love with performing again and then ended up here. So it was more of like a kind of a really winding, I guess, just like everyone's life, it ends up unexpectedly. Yeah, right. I mean, I'm doing what I love, which is really cool, but yeah.
I played piano for a couple of years when I was 9 or 10. I played saxophone in the band in middle school. And then there I started doing stuff at church, doing praise and worship and leading stuff for youth group and things like that. And that's how I kind of picked up the guitar and did a little bit of songwriting. But I've always loved country music. It was always on in my mom's car. And so that's what I really am passionate about. And it was always there in the back of my mind, just kind of waiting for me to finish school and be able to pursue it. And so here we are.
I got started in 6th grade when I started the junior high percussion ensemble. And so kind of moved into playing full drum set. And then I got involved in the church band too, kind of the praise and worship thing when they needed a drummer. Not a very good one. They needed a drummer. And then we moved on, and I got really, really wrapped up in like the 90s rock scene. Like the Matchbox 20s and the Lifehouse and the Everclear. And bought a guitar and just started learning chord charts and started kind of songwriting. And me and Kent met, and he took all of my ideas and fixed them. And here we are now.
So really, they laugh at my routines, I guess.
Push-ups.
That is not true. I do not do push-ups. Pre-show, I really just kind of like to be left alone. I'll sit and I'll put headphones on or just find an empty room or whatever and just kind of gather my thoughts and focus and drink a lot of water or tea or whatever. It's not anything that's like, sometimes we have time to sit before a show. A lot of times we don't. At this point, a lot of times it's like we're running around trying to get set up and then you go play. So there's not a lot of routine right now. It's kind of just whatever is thrown at us, we roll with. But I just like to chill and stay calm and kind of gather my thoughts. That's about it, really.
I think, well, before every show, like when I'm about to play, I have to tune, like my violin, I have to make sure it's in tune. So I kind of take that time to just kind of like center, if that makes any sense. But that's kind of like just getting my ear accustomed to the instrument and everything, like just for the stage. And then like being on stage is completely different. Once you get out there, you don't know what to expect. You don't know if like the crowd's going to be really amped up or if they're just, taking their time. It's a leisurely Sunday evening and we're just playing an acoustic set. Depends, but it's almost like a challenge, like at that point, to like get them interested or like get them to like listen even. So that like challenge really kind of drives me at that point. Like I want to get people listening, or I want to get people paying attention or hearing us.
Personally, I don't have any pre-show routines. I'm just kind of running around making sure that everything's plugged in or all the set lists put out. Do we have backup drumsticks back there? And maybe have a beer or two, and that's about it. Being on stage, it's awesome. You kind of forget about everything that's around you. You're not worried about the bills. You're not worried about, oh God, I got to wake up at 5:45 tomorrow to catch a 7:30 flight. You forget every bit of it, and I think that's kind of why we all do this. Escape just a tad bit, whether it's for 30 minutes, 90 minutes, or 3 hours.